Question number 11, Stuart Nash.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Police, does he think that a 47.6% resolution rate for reported sexual assault crimes is acceptable? If so, why?
The Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Well, Mr Speaker, I wouldn't use the term acceptable for any unresolved sexual offence. This is a priority area for the government and we're taking it very seriously. Part of addressing the issue of sexual violence is encouraging a culture where people have trust and confidence in police to come forward and report offences. And reported offences have increased markedly in recent years. As a government, we're working to improve the safety of victims, to improve services and to change long-standing behaviours and attitudes.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
If the Minister is taking this seriously, how can the public have any faith in his government's approach to resolving sexual offences when the resolution rate for sexual crime under national has dropped from 64.1% in 2008 to 47.6%? And what message is this sending to victims?
The Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Well, Mr Speaker, at the risk of relitigating a question asked a fortnight ago, and well, I will. While there were 230,000 unresolved offences in 2008, there are only 205,000 now. In other words, there are 11% fewer unresolved crimes this year.
Order.
Mr Speaker, I was very clear around sexual offences as opposed to general offences.
Yeah, no,
it is a very clear category.
The question, how can as I recall it, it was how can the Minister be taken seriously if there's, and he's allowed to give an explanation to that. He's obviously saying that it's not a matter of percentages, it's more a matter of numbers. That addresses the question that was asked. If the member then wants to take it further, he can do so with his supplementaries. Does the Minister wish to complete his answer? No, supplementary question.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my point was not the percentage, it was actually the category, which is sexual offences, which is a specific category in police crimes figures.
The way forward is I'll give the member an additional supplementary. I suspect he's
supplementary question.
But we'll
does he think that the 5,472 Kiwis who reported a sexual assault over the past 3 years but had no resolution can have confidence in the police to deliver on their promise of safer communities together?
The Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Absolutely, Mr Speaker, because that's what the community is saying to us. And what I believe those data are telling us is that people are having more confidence to speak up and report sexual offending. But what we also know is that many of those are of long standing and recent reports of crimes committed many, many years ago. That makes them much more harder to resolve, but police are determined to do so.
Supplementary question, Porto Williams.
Does he believe that the low rate of resolution of sexual assault complaints is in any way responsible for the 9 out of 10 victims of sexual assault being unwilling to report the assault to police?
The Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Mr Speaker, no, there are many reasons why that may be the case and we need to deal with them as a community, but I don't think that's one of them.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
Did the resolution of sexual assault crime under national, has the resolution of sexual assault crime under national dropped from 64.1% in 2008 to 47.6% in 2014?
The Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Well, Mr Speaker, I have no reason to doubt that the member has got the data from reported crime statistics, but I remind the House that under this government, not only are you less likely to be a victim of crime, you are less likely to be the victim of an unresolved crime.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Stuart Nash.
Does he think that it is appropriate use of police resources to fly 2 police officers from Auckland to Wellington to search a journalist's house for a simple handwriting sample while sexual assault, burglary, property and car theft resolution rates are in freefall?
Mr Speaker.
Order. The Honourable Michael Woodhouse.
Well, Mr Speaker, that's a judgment call, but it's a call that police make, not politicians. And the member who aspires to be the Minister of Police should be very aware that under the Policing Act 2008, the Commissioner of Police is not responsible to and must act independently of any Minister of the Crown. I am obliged to follow the law. No one is above the law. No MP, no truck driver, no journalist.
Question number 12, Todd